All right, everyone. Welcome to our Ceramic Science Collaborative Program. I'm here with Alvin Stafford and Tyler Lutz. I'm Salil Baker, and we're here to take you to the next about 12 to 16 weeks of ceramic science in arts and in engineering. So just to give you guys a bit of an overview, this educational program is part of a bigger program at Illinois State University called Innovate. It's a two-year program that has the research, educational, as well as an entrepreneurship context. But today we're here to kick off our first stage, which is our educational context. Now, all of us here have some underlying interest or a career in ceramics, so we're going to introduce ourselves to you to tell you what that is.
So I'm Tyler Lutz. I'm currently the director of the Wonsum School of Art at ISU. And prior to that, I taught ceramics for 20 years here. And in my own studio work, I'm both a sculptor and a designer of tableware objects. And I use a variety of different ceramic materials and non-ceramic materials to make that work.
Awesome. Hello, my name is Alvin Stafford. I'm an associate professor of ceramic art here in the Wonsum School of Art at ISU. My own personal work is utilitarian ceramics. I use a variety of forming processes to make that work. I've been teaching here at ISU for 15 years, right around 15 years. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here now. Yeah.
Right. I'm Salil Baker. I'm an assistant professor of mechanical engineering here at ISU, and I've only been here about a year and a half. And very different from my two colleagues over here. Very different from my two colleagues over here. My background is in engineering. So the ceramics that I've worked with have been mostly silicon carbides and boron carbides for body armor and nuclear fuel cladding. And it's kind of these distinct fields of arts and engineering that got us talking, because one of those materials, silicon carbide, can be used also in the arts. And that's a conversation me and Tyler had, I think, on my first day actually here at ISU. And then that got us talking and thinking for a while. And then we started talking to Albion, and we figured, you know what, there's some scope here to really combine the arts and the ceramic arts and the engineering ceramics together. And that's what we're going to do with you guys over here.
Yeah, just as an example of what Salil was talking about, we use silicon carbide both in our refractory kiln shells, so the things that we put pottery and sculptures on in the kiln to be able to support them. And then we'll also use silicon carbide crushed up and put into a glaze, which makes the glaze foam for aesthetic reasons. It's just the look of that lava glaze really comes out of using that silicon carbide.
So one thing that is actually very entertaining for me, every time I tell people that I work in ceramics, and they're always wondering why an engineer is worried about pots and cutlery. So I think what would be very interesting for all of us here is to talk about what a ceramic means to us, because you will get some pretty distinct answers across the field.
Yeah. Well, in my own background in working with ceramics, I came to ceramics in actually a high school art class. I was lucky enough to have a high school experience where art was divided by media, and you had some choice there. So I chose ceramics quite arbitrarily, maybe because it was the one thing that I hadn't really experienced before, you know, and it had a studio pottery kind of base to it. In terms of the program there. So not much has changed since then for me. I found it pretty captivating, mostly the forming processes and things of that sort, just things being continually at risk. I found that really exciting. Maybe the biggest hook, though, was making art objects that had purpose outside of their art purpose, outside of interpretation. I found that really alluring and has been captivating still to today. So when I think of ceramic, often those types of objects come to mind, but I also, in working with students here at ISU, have tried to kind of expand that sensibility for them. And in that expansion, we had taken trips in the past to the Kohler factory, which is a factory that produces sanitary wares for ceramics, tubs, urinals, sinks, toilets, things of that nature.
After dinner.
Yeah. And, as exciting as that is for the students, it's even more so exciting for me just to think about. I had a long span of time working on porcelain specifically and going to a factory like that and getting a sense for how they deal with a difficult material and a material that likes to misbehave, like porcelain, was definitely illuminating. So I guess function and utilitarian things is often where I lean towards when thinking of ceramic.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that question from two different angles. The basic answer to what is a ceramic from my perspective is clay that has been fired in a kiln. So once it's been fired, it becomes ceramic. So that's kind of a general generic answer to that, but also ceramic as it's used often in the arts. I hear people often think, oh, I'm going to take a ceramics class, and they wonder what you're doing with that. Well, they think we're going to make like ceramic Christmas trees like your grandma has in her basement with her little kiln down there. And really what we teach here at ISU is we teach sculpture and studio pottery using ceramic materials. So we teach wheel throwing, we teach hand-built sculpture, and those are all ceramics, but it's a little bit of a confusing term to a lot of people, so we separate out that term. But the reality is that ceramics as an art form encompasses both hand building and sculpture.